Shalom Aleichem and welcome to Online Smicha. The Alter Rebbe in Hilchos Shabbos, Siman Shin Mem, S'iv Yudalid, says a halacha like this: Moichin shenaflu min hakeses, a pillow, a blanket, that the stuffing, the feathers or the whatever stuffing you used inside, fell out, and it's Shabbos, so you want to put it back into the pillow, into the blanket on Shabbos. Says the Alter Rebbe, muter lahachziram. You are allowed to put it back. Whatever fell out on Shabbos, you could put it back in. Avol, however, if you have a pillow and you're just putting it in for the first time, asur litnem betchila bekeses mipnei she'achshav oisehu klei. To take something that has a hollow, empty, and you stuff it up so it should be able to use as a pillow, as a blanket, something that you're going to use it for any gain, betchila, to do that on Shabbos, you're not allowed to, as the words of the Alter Rebbe is, she'achshav oisehu kli. Now you're creating a keli. Now it's Shabbos. On Shabbos, you're not allowed to create a keli. Which malacha is this associated? This malacha is associated with tikkun mana, making a keli, which is basically the malacha of makeh b'patish. What is makeh b'patish? Makeh b'patish is there's basically a keli almost done, 99% of it done, but the professionals, when they produce a keli, they have to give the final klap, the final zetz, and then it smoothens out, straightens out, and it's ready for sale, ready to go. So here there is a pillow or any keli. The last thing that makes it usable is the stuffing. So if it was already a keli before and some feathers fell out, some stuffing fell out, you didn't make the keli on Shabbos. But to stuff it on Shabbos, that would be an extension to the malacha of tikkun mana, which is the malacha of makeh b'patish. Nice. I don't think people are worried about stuffings and feathers on pillows. But let's take it to a more common shaila. There is a machlokes, which you see how it's going to connect to this pillow. There is a machlokes in today's shuvas about blowing up a balloon on Shabbos. Blowing air into a balloon, blowing into a tire, or let's use another example. You have extra guests on Shabbos, and you want to put in air to an air mattress. Obviously not an electric machine, but here there's a mattress that wasn't usable before Shabbos. A new person comes, a guest comes on Shabbos, and you need to give him a place to sleep, so you want to pump some air in there. Would that be a shaila? So obviously, to pump in air for the very first time is very similar to the case of the pillow. As long as it wasn't made yet into a keli, you're making the keli final and ready to use on Shabbos. Then you have an issue with tikkun mana as an extension of makeh b'patish. However, what happens if some air leaked out, and you want to add some air into the balloon or into the air mattress, etc. Believe it or not, this is a machlokes between Dayan Weiss in Minchas Yitzchak, and in the Sefer Minchas Yitzchak, and Reb Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, as it's brought in Shmira Shabbos Kol Chasa. Dayan Weiss in Shailos Tshuvas Minchas Yitzchak, Chelik Vav Siman Lamed, says like this: the comparison to what we just learned, the din of a stuffing, din of feathers in the pillow. All right, I see how there is tikkun mana. So the same should be by blowing in, putting air into a balloon, into a bed. However, the difference is, over there you're actually putting in the same exact things that fell out. The stuffings fell out, the feathers fell out. You put it out. You put it back in. So therefore, in a case like that, it's permitted. Over here, says Dayan Weiss, I want you to be even more machmir. because what you're putting in there is brand new air. It's air that wasn't there before. So even if some air leaked out and you're putting in another bunch of air, however you're going to do it, even if the keli was almost done, it was used already, but you just want to put in more air, being that it's not the same exact item that came out, Dayan Weiss says, I'm sorry, that's not like what the halacha permits you to do. Reb Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, however, and as is brought in Shmir Shabbos Kilchasa Chelik Gimel, Perek Tezvav Ha'orach Chav Dalid, he says, excuse me, by the feathers, it makes a difference between the feathers that were, or the stuffings, or whatever filling there is in the pillows or in the blankets. It makes a difference between if it was there before already or not. But air, air is something you can't make that difference. It's not tangible. It's not something, this was the air that's there, and now you're putting in a bunch of air. It doesn't really make any sense. And therefore, says Reb Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, if a balloon deflated or anything like that, you would be able to put in new air. Even though that by a pillow you couldn't. Now, when you talk about a balloon, you can't just jump on this heter. You have to be aware that there's other issues. There are some balloons, and obviously most of the balloons, that once you fill up the balloon with air, somehow you got to keep the air in it. So keeping the air in it, you got another problem. That is, when you tie it down, you tie it in whatever way you tie it, you're tying it so the air should last. Tying it, the air should last for as long as you want it to be there. You're not opening up the balloon you're not pumping up the balloon that it should only be used for 10, 15 minutes, an hour, a day. You're pumping up the balloon that it should last full as long as it could last. So, and then you're tying that down, you have a separate problem here. The separate problem is the problem of a kesher. And according to some opinions, even if that kesher is not the kesher of the saponim of the sailors, the fancy kesher, the kesher shel kayama, that sense, but in this level, this is a kesher shel kayama. So you have the other issue of blowing up a balloon, inflating a balloon on Shabbos has to be concerned. Being that there's inyanim of kshira, on top of the discussion I met before about the hechsher keli, tikkun mana, and maka b'patish, to keep the balloon inflated, you will have a possible shaila of kshira or kesher shel kayama.